Thank you, Presiding Officer. The Cabinet Secretary for Social Justice has described today's amendment as simply a small technical fix to the statute book, but I completely disagree with that analysis. This amendment bill is the Scottish Government's very public acceptance, however grudgingly given, that its policy that trans women are women has been thoroughly defeated in Scotland's highest court. Through a late change in the wording of the law, and without any equality impact assessment, the Gender Representation on Public Boards Act defined women entirely based on self-ID. This was, we were assured, a one-time only redefinition which would have no meaning outside of the Act. But as predicted by women's rights campaigners, however, this new definition was soon used as proof that self-ID was now the law in Scotland and could not be argued against. 4 Women Scotland, some of whom are in the gallery with us today, brought a judicial review on this new definition of women, and the Inner House of the Court of Session ruled on the 18th of February 2022 that it was unlawful. Today's short bill removes this definition from the face of the legislation. Whether this new definition will have to be changed again in support of 4 Women Scotland's belief, and mine, that for the purposes of the Equality Act, women should be defined entirely on the basis of biological sex. This question will now be decided at the Supreme Court. But what is already clear today is that the Scottish Government's policy that all men who identify as women should be treated as women is in fact unlawful. And in fact, self-ID has no legal standing. Trans women are not women under Scots law. And so it is wholly wrong for any organisation or MSP to still rely on a definition which has now been ruled unlawful and, as can be seen today, has been accepted as such by the Scottish Government. At the very least, the Scottish Government should make sure it does not fund organisations that are advising it incorrectly, and that all processes and policies are being updated to ensure that this does not happen again. And I would welcome a statement from the Government on that, especially as the Government is currently saying it will bring forward a bill on conversion therapy this year. And I'm also wondering, as others in the Chamber might be, when will the Scottish Government advise its own MSPs what the law is saying in this regard? This debacle, after all, was the start of a whole suite of legislation, together with the Hate Crime Bill, the Gender Recognition Reform Bill, based, as far as I can see, on the demands of lobby groups the Government is funding, and it is entirely symptomatic of the failings of a Government pursuing legislation costing hundreds of thousands of pounds of public money that do not reflect the view of the public, and money that I'm sure would be much better spent elsewhere. All of this has undermined trust, fatally I think, in the Scottish Government. But most disturbingly, as an independent supporter, it has undermined trust in the Scottish Parliament as an institution.